and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Football Alliance USFL Roundtable. Welcome to the special edition tonight. 4 coaches were introduced, and tonight I love our little intros. We went way back in time, baby. We went back to the 80s when the original USFL was around. Hey, check, and you see it strolling right down there. Call Pack 22 because this show is sponsored by Pack22.com. Call Matt, set up your account, mention John Turner or our Football World discussion, and you get 50% off of your first $500. Then after that, a 25% lifetime. With that being said, let's bring in the host for tonight. You know me, I am Dirty from XFL STL. You see me right there on Twitter. Let's bring in the man, John Turner from a Football World. John Turner, how are you, sir, with all the snow going on up there in the big PA?
We got snow, and we got more snow. How you doing?
There you go. How you, John? How are you today? I'm glad to see you're alive in the snow, and I guess you're snowed in, right, John?
For the time being, I got to get out and shovel in a little while, but it's all right.
Oh, there you go. And all the way down in Tampa is our man who is covering the what is the Tampa team again? I forgot. I'm a terrible host.
The Bandits.
Terrible host. The Bandits, all the way down there from beautiful Tampa, which is, I think it's like 78 degrees. Mr. Jarrett Hansen. Unmute yourself, Jarrett.
Yep, thanks, guys, for having me on the show. Yep, right now, it's actually kind of hot in the house for some reason. Like a light jacket is all you need in the morning, basically. So it's a lot better than where I'm originally from. It's like 0 degrees around this time of year, so it's a lot better, so much better.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 60 degrees here. It's 60 degrees here in South Carolina, so it's actually nice. And our other host for tonight, he's my partner in crime on Wednesday nights. You just saw him. He's down there in Dallas, Texas, or Houston. Houston, my partner, Houston, who is in Arlington, Texas. No, did I get it wrong again?
Yes.
Oh,
What?
where are you at again?
I'm in Houston, Texas, man.
Oh, Houston, Texas. That's right. My partner, Arlington Lane, who is covering the Houston Gamblers for us. So, guys, we've decided when we were going to do this show, we were going to bring in different hosts each week. Brett can't join us. Brett's being a little under the weather. So that's why Jared's joining us right now. But we always said if there was going to be some big news, we were going to do a special show, and that's what this is. And the big news is I think it's a little goofy the way they've done it, but they announced 4 head coaches for the USFL. Now, this is a roundtable, so if we'd have had another host, which would have been Brett, but, hey, Brett, hope you're feeling better, buddy. Take care. I would have given you guys each a coach to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So since we don't, I'm going to take a coach. So you guys automatically know who's going to win at the end of this roundtable. Do we not know?
Not you, sir. You're not winning this one.
I'm winning because I'm the main host. I can already tell you who's going to be in last place. It'll probably be John, just because he's all up in the camera looking goofy. Jarrett, you might come in second, and Arlington, you might be tied for last with John.
I know.
But so here's how it's going to go. Let's see. I'm going to give you guys a number 1 through 4. Okay?
Yes.
Jesus.
And that's how we're going to determine who our head coaches are. All right. So, Jarrett, we'll let you go first. Wait, here we go. We're going to go by weather. Jarrett, how warm is it in Tampa right now?
Oh, gosh, probably 65, just a guess.
Okay. Arlington, how warm is it in Houston?
54.
John, you got snow, so we know how cold it is there.
24. 24 degrees.
All right, so John, you're getting number 1. You get number 4. Jarrett, you get number 1. Arlington, you get number 2, and I get number 3 because it's 54 degrees here.
Wait, you said 2 of us have number 1. Is it me or
No, Jarrett's got number 1. Jarrett's got number 1. Arlington's got 2. I'm 3. John, you're 4.
Got to be the most terrible host ever we had, man.
I know. You're right. I know.
All right, we're picking, so I get to pick out of the 4 that are available.
Out of the 4 head coaches, and I've given each head coach their own number, but I'm not telling you that number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got one for you.
Well, you get number 1. You're picking number 1.
I'm doing that right now.
Number 1.
I know who I'm picking. This guy I don't know much about, but he worked for Texas A&M, so I'm gonna try this guy
Oh, you
Kevin Sumlin
suck.
because he had a good history with Johnny Manziel and he went
You
against Alabama
suck.
and
Well,
Nick
I hate to
Saban,
tell you,
so that would be my pick.
But
I hate to tell you that.
wait a minute. I
Hold
thought
on.
he had your team, the Tampa
But
Bay.
but yeah,
Hold
right.
on.
I think he's trying to do like a fantasy football thing. I don't
I'm going to mute everybody. He's not, unfortunately, he's number 3, so that's my head coach. Since you have number 1, you have Mike Riley, Jarrett.
Oh, great.
Arlington, you're number 2, so that means you have your favorite team, Arlington, for pro football. You have Todd Haley.
No, that's not how this is going to work. No, sir.
Yeah, that's who I have number 2. And
no,
John,
you get stuck with Mike Riley, you idiot. No,
yeah.
I get my team in Houston. I get Kevin Sumlin. I don't give a damn.
How is it that the host doesn't get to tell you guys? Fine,
because you have no control. You have no control, and you don't know what the hell you're doing.
I get Mike Riley. Then that means
good luck.
Who gets Todd Haley then?
That's Tampa Bay Bandits are picking him. So
nope. So that's Jarrett, and then Todd. That means you get Kevin, John.
No, I get Kevin. What are you talking about? You idiot.
Arlington gets
Kevin.
Hey,
dog, you get banned. Dog,
I'm gonna mute Arlington.
Man, you get banned.
And you get Bart. Get Bart, John.
Right, Bart.
Yeah.
Right. So they named the head coaches. To be honest, I don't know if I'm really
above and beyond with it.
Yeah, on these head coaches. So since it's the warmest, we'll start with you. You got your guy, Todd Haley.
Yeah, I know I have a little history with Todd Haley. Surprisingly. I'm a Broncos fan, Denver Broncos fan. Been a fan since freaking at least 95. And Todd Haley, he back in like 2009 when Josh McDaniels, our worst head coach at one point, he won 6 games, his first 6 games, then couldn't make the playoffs, which has never happened, I don't believe. Well, anyways, Todd Haley and Josh McDaniels after the game, Todd Haley didn't want to shake his hand and wanted to be like bad, just mean to Josh McDaniels because he lost or whatever. So I don't know how I feel about Todd Haley so much. Like he's very irritable from what it seems like. He's easy, he'll if players are going to talk trash, he will say it back to them and is not afraid to lash back up at him. He's had a couple bar fights, I guess, from just research. That's how he got fired with the Steelers, I guess. He has had a couple bar fights. So it'll be entertainment at its finest. But I don't know. For the Bandits, I don't know. It's going to be entertaining. I don't know if he's going to be last place, but I don't think he's going to win at all. That's just my opinion on it. About Todd Haley, and that's it for me.
Okay.
Look like the host decided to take a break himself. Look at that. He can't stay in with the rest of the group.
No, it started raining. So it's starting to rain here in South Carolina. So it had some problems. Now, here's what I'll say about Todd Haley, which I didn't realize this when I was talking to Arlington earlier. Todd Haley's got 22 years of NFL experience, right? Won the championship with the Steelers. I loved how he tanked the Kansas football team because that's the worst football team in all of professional football. They don't belong to Missouri. They belong to the state of Kansas, not Missouri. So, I in a way, I think it might be right now of the coaches the 4 coaches that you've named. I think Todd Haley gives you some kind of recognition. If this is true, because, we'll talk about that later on one of the coaches saying that he hasn't signed yet. But I think Todd Haley gives you some kind of legitimacy for the league. And that's just my opinion based on his history as a coach. That's just my opinion. Anybody else have an opinion?
I totally agree with you on the experience with tons of teams he's been with and that sort of thing. So I guess his last job was a high school offensive coordinator position in Sarasota, Florida, which is 1 hour from Tampa. And that's one thing I noticed was the pattern was Kevin Sumlin came from. He was head coach for Texas A&M, and he's playing now. He's going to be with the Houston Gamblers, and then Todd Haley is in Sarasota, and now he's going to be head coach for the Tampa Bay Bandits. So I'm seeing that like it must be a kind of a little. They must have got a discount, or it's like cheap. That
the way it seems.
He doesn't have to fly that far away. So
right, yeah. All right, so let's go with Sumlin. Arlington. So that's your head coach for the Gamblers.
Yes.
What's your take on him?
I like the move with Kevin Sumlin. You know, I believe that without shadow of a doubt, it's kind of like what happened with Dallas. With getting Bob Stoops, college head coach, going to a spring football league this time, and this time it's Kevin Sumlin. As you can see in front of you, 95-63 collegiate football record. I think he had a 86-43 record with both Texas A&M and Houston. I remember when he did well with Houston, he got the gig at Texas A&M. And so now this is an opportunity for him where he gets to take over his own team, probably get you a little bit of practice of sorts, you know, if you're getting ready for the professional ranks, if you ever wanted to try at getting at the NFL. But this is an opportunity where he gets to take control. And just like the other 7 coaches, they'll get a chance to take control of their own team. And I would love to see how well that works out for him, especially in Houston. There's a Texas connection, so that's big. And so this is a wonderful choice for him to start off with the Gamblers.
Right. Now, here's what I like about Sumlin. I mean, you look as you got it up here, you know, the great banner that we have, 93-65 per CBF record, 4-3 in bowl games. That's not bad. The one thing I like that I'm most impressed with him is the SEC Coach of the Year 2012. Now, we all know John has written big articles about the SEC, how he thinks it should break away from the NCAA, become its own monster itself. To become Coach of the Year in the SEC, it's not an easy task with some of the coaches that you have. I mean, like with Saban and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing for him to win it. And what was the team that he won that with, the Coach of the Year? Would that have been A&M, I guess?
Yeah.
Texas A&M.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a good hire. And again, as Jared pointed out, you're seeing a theme of where these guys were from. Like you said, saw someone down there. He's right now at the University of Houston, which Arlington, that means you probably can go see him and maybe get an interview with him, huh?
Maybe.
You think?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as this progresses.
John, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Maybe we reach out to the University of Houston, see if we can get an interview with the guy for Arlington?
Yeah, we can do that. And I'd like to add that I think one of the things that Arlington that caused him to not be so hot at Arizona is that you got to understand that Herm Edwards is right down the street and got to Arizona State a couple years before Sumlin got to Arizona. And by then, I think Herm Edwards, if you look at the recruit ranking, Arizona State is double digits by, you know, this far on the 24/7 list of college recruit rankings. They're far and away higher ranked than Arizona. So by the time Sumlin got there, he didn't have not only was he taking over a kind of a not so hot program, but he was already, you know, knocking on kids' doors that were halfway committed to Arizona State already. So he was kind of DOA when he got there.
All right. Well, John, now that you mentioned that, so I'll bring it to the three of you guys. Now, let's go to Sumlin. If you're a college kid in Arizona or looking to go play in Arizona, either at Arizona or Arizona State, which head coach are you going to go to? You're going to go to Herm Edwards, who's been in the NFL, who's been on TV as a football analyst? Or are you going to go to Sumlin? I mean, who would you guys pick? Me, if I'm a college kid, I'm going to the guy who was in the pros. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
if I'm a college kid.
it's fairly easy to understand that particular statement that you just made. You got to understand Arizona is not a great football program. Just think about all the coaches that came prior to it. Remember, Rich Rodriguez was a part of this group, and so Arizona has not been able to get over the hump, especially in a stacked. Well, now they have decreased lately, but the Pac-12. You got UCLA, you got USC, you got Oregon. Those guys are going to stay on top because they do well with recruiting. It was going to be hard for Kevin Sumlin at Arizona to do that because those are the other teams that you have to deal with.
But let's put his record back up. That's a pretty impressive record. Put his record back up. 93, 95, and 63 in college football. That's not a bad record, though.
That's pretty good.
But he was 9-20. He was 9-20 at Arizona, so that
3 seasons or something like
down.
that.
So
that's true.
I'm not playing for that program.
I'll
got
say
you.
something.
Now, Jarrett, question to you: if you were in Arizona, you're being recruited by Coach Sumlin or Coach Edwards, where are you going?
Yeah, I'd be going Arizona State all the way because, like you said, Herm Edwards, I grew up watching him on ESPN being a color commentator or whatever on NFL Live. A coach for the New York Jets, if I'm a former head coach. And always is he's like John Madden, all flamboyant and everything. And I would be going to Arizona State. Also, Arizona State is known as party capital of the world when it comes to colleges. So I lived in Arizona. I lived in Phoenix, and I went to an Arizona State game. So they're lively and a lot of fun. So I would be going there before University of Arizona. I thought University of Arizona used to be better than Arizona State many years ago, but now it seems like the tide's changed since Edwards has taken the reins. So I would take Arizona State. That's my final thought.
John, can I guess who you would pick?
Well, now I would pick whichever team can give me the better NIL deal. And let's not forget, guys, that when Sumlin got to Arizona, the transfer portal had not been fully adjusted yet to allow the free-for-all that we're seeing now. So he couldn't bring some of those Aggies that probably wanted to come with him over to Arizona Wildcats. I would have probably gone with Herm Edwards, but for me, honestly, it depends on the campus and the ambrosia around the town surrounding the college. That would be kind of a deciding factor for me. I don't mind losing. I don't have to win every game. Am I having a good time? Am I enjoying myself? Is the atmosphere great? Here's a little fun fact. The last time Arizona was really, really good, you guys probably recognize this name because he was a St. Louis Ram. Trung Candidate. Remember that?
Oh, my God. He was a bust, wasn't he, Arlington?
Well, he was okay. He was a 300, 400, 500-yard back. He just wasn't a superstar.
Right. You had to deal with Marshall. Remember, we had to deal with the punching Marshall Faulk.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. This is the Pro Football Alliance USFL Roundtable Edition, special editions. We're talking coaches. We are brought to you by Pac22.com. Call Mark. Call Matt. I'm just doing it off the top of my head. 72724252645. See? Didn't even look at the ticker. Mention John Turner to Football World Discussion. You get 50% off your first 500 and then 25% after that. And also on January 10th, before 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, get into the football, the national championship with the exact score. Don't have to be the exact score of the teams, but first place gets. Did I say the number wrong? Oh, Matthew's listening. Sorry, man. I said the number wrong. John's got it scrolling too fast. So everybody just kiss it. Kiss it.
No, we don't.
Just go to Pac22 and mention John Turner's name and get your money. That's what you do. Just do it. That's all you got to do. And Matthew, Joey's going to be calling you because he's going to set up something with you. But anyways, I digress. So I guess we're going to go to John. Now, John, remember, we're not going to do a very long show because there's only 4 coaches. So that means don't go extremely winded like you normally do.
All right.
Okay.
Because this guy has like an extensive history, with like all the world leagues. So
People talk about how well traveled Josh Johnson has been just to be a backup everywhere. Bart Andrews, this guy has coached in Europe. He was just coaching in Ottawa College in Canada this past year. He was Team 9's coach. He was with the Titans for a little while. I mean, he's coached all over the place. Quarterbacks coach, special teams coach, defense, offense. I mean, this guy knows the game of football. He's a football lifer. He's coached high school. He's been with your boys, the Rams, St. Louis Rams, as an offensive assistant. So this guy knows the game. And because he's been around, the CFL everywhere, he understands how to deal with these second-level football players and to kind of motivate them, as proof by winning a World Cup with the NFL Europe with the Rhine Fire. He went to another one. Can't remember the other team he went to one with at the moment, but he's been to two. So he knows how to coach these lesser, the level down leagues, and he motivates these guys. And I think last we saw him with Team 9, most of the time when guys had to leave with injury in the XFL, they called up guys from Team 9 and they were ready to go. They could play. It's not like they were in a deer in a headlight. So he keeps guys ready and competitive. I think he's one of the more sneaky coaches that could be successful coming right out the gates in the USFL. I mean, just because he's never been out of the game. He's never been away from it. So when you're always setting up cones and tackling dummies and coaching them up, it never leaves you. So when it comes down to it, it's just remembering the language of the playbook and getting out there and getting coached up and playing 4-down football.
Now, here's what I'll say about Coach Andrews. You're right. He did do he did Team 9 for the USF or the XFL. And when players did go down and get injured, they definitely were ready. He also, when you talk about he coached in the NFL, and had an NFL Europe championship. I mean, those weren't always all just American players too. Those were guys from other places. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he had to teach them how to play football at an American type level, right? And with him having the experience of, coaching in Europe and CFL and, being here with the Rams, he does have a lot of coaching experience, and I almost have to agree with you. He might be the most sneakiest of the coaches and might have his team the most game ready when the season kicks off in less than 100 days. So I'll give him that one. Anybody else? Let's go to Arlington. What do you think?
I mean, I like, especially looking at Bart Andrews, when I see pictures of him, it looks like he's about to do a cleaning job behind the scenes, looking like he's about to go clean up somebody's mess. And I'm talking about like blood somewhere and clean it up and then get it out the way.
He looks like he comes right out of the mean streets of Philadelphia, Southside Philadelphia.
Do you guys remember they used those same photos for the XFL? You guys, I remember that. They announced Team 9 or whatever. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. For me, like Team 9, I always thought they should have had merchandise for Team 9 personally. I thought that I would have liked to buy.
Come on, man. Really?
Seriously? I'm a hardcore XFL fan, so I would just
Look
give me
what
like a
Hattie
gold
got
9.
on.
Yeah, I got the New York Guardians, so
Yeah.
but I pay respects to the NFL Europe, and I hope he is successful, and I hope he's like a sleeper, a sudden surprise, and makes his team a lot better and goes up in the standings. So I'm looking forward to Bart Andrus's time as head coach. Yep, that's it for me.
Yeah. John made a very compelling argument for his guy.
Whatever.
Well, we only know who four coaches are. We only know who the four coaches are.
Right.
So, I mean, and we'll talk about the XFL coaches here, and I mean, all right, well, since, Richard Humphrey put it up, what do you guys think? Do you think that the XFL is going to have to get better coaches? Because so far, with the three coaches that you guys have talked about and the arguments that you've made for those three coaches, I think there's some really good hires for those three the three teams that hired. I think those are some really good coaches. And with Todd Haley, I mean, Jake right here, all the way from Australia saying that, Todd Haley is pouring poison into the goblets. I mean, yeah, we know that Todd Haley's been a poisonous guy or whatever,
No, he did that. He made an appearance on Game of Thrones.
Oh, see, I didn't watch that show.
I didn't watch it either.
So I just know that Todd Haley's a poison anyways. I've never been a Todd Haley fan anyways, so.
Yeah, him and Ben Roethlisberger were always a good, I guess, duo or something, right? Or am I wrong? Weren't offensive coordinator and
he was offensive coordinator, right? Yeah.
Roethlisberger had some of his best years.
They didn't get along at first because he took over after what's his face?
Arians.
Arians. Threw AB off the field the other day with his broken ankle. But anyway, he took over for him. So that's
stop, John. I will say, please, AB. Go get some mental health. Go get some mental health.
Extremely different offense going from Arians to Haley. Okay,
yes.
You're talking about in the NFL it doesn't get much different than that. So there was butting heads, but Ben Roethlisberger, if you look at his numbers, touchdowns up, interceptions down, sacks down. I mean, they did a lot. He put up a lot of stats. So if you give Haley time, he's going to put some points on you. I think he was set up to fail a little bit in Kansas City. Wasn't he there when that player killed himself and he had Brady Quinn or something,
Yes.
So,
I went to a game with Brady Quinn, actually. Yeah, Brady Quinn was a total bust. And he actually went to the Broncos, which was even more of a bust. So, Brady Quinn was just horrible. You don't get people from Notre Dame, for the most part. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't like Notre Dame watching them on NBC, so that's a side note. Okay, anyways.
There you go.
But we got to watch the USFL on NBC now.
Oh, yes.
So
I will watch that. I will watch that.
And Fox.
Right, and Fox. Don't forget Fox. And Peacock.
And
USA.
USA.
Let's get to the last coach in USA. Let's get to the last coach, Matt Riley, former head coach of the Chargers from 99 to 2001. He's the Generals head coach. He coached with Oregon State and Nebraska, which, man, really, how good has Nebraska been lately? Yeah,
it's not even about Nebraska.
They're not that powerhouse.
Whoever's picking them, they've been bad for 20 plus years.
That's true. Listen,
whoever's doing
he had jobs in Charlie's league and the XFL, and as you see right here, he's 7-3 in bowls, 2 Grey Cups, and he was 5-3 with the San Antonio Commanders. One of probably the most second popular team in Charlie's league, if I'm not mistaken, next to third, maybe Birmingham and Orlando. So
right,
the Commanders were right there. I'd watched a few of the Commander games. He did a great job there. With it, I mean, now you want to talk about the guy who has the least. I mean, 2 years in the NFL. It was the Chargers, though. I mean, really, how good were the Chargers in the early?
You got to remember how bad they were,
and early 2000s, right? That's what I'm saying.
They said it was 1-15 one season.
Right. I remember that. I mean, come on. So I mean, really, how good were the Chargers? They weren't very good. But
he was so bad they got Phillip Rivers, though.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Exactly. And right there's the biggest thing I like on this. The second stat right there. 2 Grey Cups. So now, I have beat it to death and all of that stuff, right? And John's wrote articles about it. The CFL has their basically all their players are free agents, right? So with Riley having that connection with the CFL, I could see him bringing some of the best players from the CFL down to America. But minding that there's not COVID restrictions and all that stuff, travel restrictions.
Yeah.
I think out of all of these head coaches for this league, he seems to be the one that has the best fit for it because of the things that he's been in. So he knows how to play that second tier type ball. He's been doing it a lot, and he's going to have a lot more connections with the Canadian players where he can bring some of those guys down. and maybe the better ones and pick and choose and know which players are better. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this works. I mean, it's New Jersey, so we all know how it is in the New York area, New Jersey area. If you ain't winning, those people crucify you. So really, of all the jobs, if he's not the one that's winning and all the coaches that are going to get fired first, it's going to be him if he's not winning.
Yes.
That's just how it is in New York, in New Jersey. Does anybody want to disagree with that?
No, not at all. New York's always been known as like, and New Jersey's always had that fan base. Like, if you ain't winning, then they're not going to care.
Phillies has as well, man. Philly's been that way.
I have a question. Like,
always been that way.
Is there going to be a limit on Canadian players coming to the USFL? I wonder, or like,
no,
it won't matter.
I haven't seen it. And right here, what Ken Gill says, right here, Riley's a hell of a coach, and the players love him. And I mean, really, if that's what you really want, you know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, out of all of the head coaches that we've named, the 4 that we've named, Riley has the least amount of drama on a player standpoint compared to some of the other coaches. You know?
The thing is about New Jersey, I'm more actually curious as to if they're going to play at Red Bull versus play at at MetLife Stadium.
Red Bull.
I've been to MetLife. That is a monster stadium. If you guys if you never knew this, the stadium is louvered. They can open these louvers that allow air to come in the stadium. It's pretty cool how they do that.
I've been there for WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's a ridiculously.
It looks like a space station, right? Or
yes,
something?
And it's a ridiculously huge stadium. Now, when we were.
Did you get to go underneath the stands where the restaurants are underneath?
Yes, we did. Oh, Jarrett popped out. Arlington. Yes, I did. And the only reason why we got to is because I went with the first responder who was at 9/11. And so we got a little more special treatment, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice stadium, but it doesn't compare to Jerry's World. Jerry's World, that stadium is just ridiculous,
insane. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm hoping they choose Red Bull if Red Bull FC will allow them to share that field. That's one of the gripes about the MLS teams is that they don't want the grass being messed up, the pitch, as they like to say in soccer.
Correct. Let me tell you something with soccer fields. The pitch in a soccer field is very, very important. It's very, very important on the way the ball rolls and how the guy plants his foot to make his kicks and how they get their spins on their kick. So a pitch in a soccer field is very, very important, and you really don't want to mess a pitch up on a soccer field. But now Will says, the insider from XFL talk show, says he thinks that they're going to play in Rutgers Stadium.
Yeah, that's cool with me. That's a good idea.
That would be good for them. You know what I mean? Like, even if the gamblers, when the gamblers do come to Houston, there are several venues that they can play in. They don't have to play at the University of Houston. They don't have to play at Energy. They can play at Rice University like they did for the Spring League. And I really believe that's where they're going to play because of the relationship they have with the Spring League.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do, because then I want to go to some of these questions over here. All right, so we're gonna go around the table of the 4 coaches that we named. Right? Who do we think now? If it was just these 4 teams and based on these 4 coaches, right? Who do you think is taking first place? Which coach? And we'll start with John.
I like Bart Andrews.
Okay. Arlington.
Bart Andrews.
Okay. Jared.
I want Bart Andrews, I would say. Yeah.
Only because like he's really only
he's
because
like
exactly, and that's what the thing is, you know. Oh man, whoever made this comment, Ken, about Marvin Lewis,
so that's what I want to go.
I heard.
So hold on, before we get to it, I think we're all in a unanimous decision. I think if the season was playing with these 4 teams, I think Bart Andrews would be the coach that would win this thing for the Philadelphia Stars. So I think we can all agree to that. So now, this is what I want to go to. I want to go to the questions. So right here, Ken Gill says Marvin Lewis is perfect for. There's our winner right there. Shake it off, please. Make sure you don't piss this man off because you might be swimming with the fishes with the weight belt.
You might be disappearing along the way.
He might be the kingpin of the USFL. You like how I said that, Turner? Turner, you know what I was referring to, don't you?
You might be in the back of a trunk.
Exactly. You might be in the back of a tracksuit moving van. So Marvin Lewis, let's get to it. Marvin Lewis would be perfect for the Maulers or DC. What do you guys think of that?
I guess he's talking about XFL. I mean,
Yeah.
The Maulers are going to be a team here in the USFL.
Right. And the reason I say that because of the ties that he's had. Well, he's had with Pittsburgh, and what that wouldn't be anything wrong with that. I mean, he is a defensive-minded coach. I know Pittsburgh has had this history when it comes to defense in their history of professional football, and so this would be a perfect choice for the USFL if he chose there. DC, if they did it in the XFL. I don't know how to even act, and I would be afraid to play against a DC team with Marvin Lewis as their head coach. Real talk.
That is true. Hey, this is the Pro Football Alliance USFL Roundtable Special Edition. Hey, John, I know there's a website that we can go and gamble at called Pack 22.
Yeah, it's right.
And they're doing a national championship game, right?
Guys, we've got a national championship game competition coming up. If you invite a few people along, I believe it's a $25 minimum. You pick the score. The final score could win. The person who chooses the final score accurately for the national championship game could win 2 tickets to next year's national championship game, 3 nights and 2 days stay at a hotel.
Now, what if there's a tiebreaker, John? How does that work?
There's tiebreaker. You get $750 to come in second place, which is the best loser. And if you're the second best loser, you get $250 for playing. All you have to do is call the number right down there. Let's see, 727-452-2645. Mention a football world to Matt Eddington or John Turner, and he will get your account set up. You go to pack22.com. You can bet on all the sports, all the things. You can bet on. Hell, I think you can bet on like real estate and politics and things like that on pack22.com. I swear to God, they've got stuff you can bet on things I've never even seen before. So that's Pack22, our official sponsor, the official book for a football world and the Pro Football Alliance. Give them a call today. Win today, cash out tomorrow, baby.
There you go. All right, now I like this other question by Richard Humphreys. The coaches are going to be the GM's question mark. I just don't like the way they are getting their players. I mean, have we really heard? Are the coaches going to be the GMs? I mean, I know they did with the XFL, so they are going to be the GMs.
Each team will have a player personnel manager, meaning somebody that's, if a coach says, go get me a linebacker, he's going to supply a list of a dozen, and say, I'll take these 3 or 4. So that's kind of, I think, what's going on. That's the role that Moose Johnston had with the Dallas Renegades in the XFL 2 years ago. He was their player personnel guy. But yes, each coach is the GM and head coach, meaning he's going to be able to put his own staff together. And I think that's what coaches really want. They don't want to have some general manager breathing over their shoulder saying, you know what, you're not doing so hot in the secondary. I'm putting this guy in at secondary coach and I'm firing the guy you got. I mean, that's what creates turmoil between coaches and ownership in the NFL. And people say, the hell with this. And I think that's why guys like Todd Haley and Bart Andrews and some of these other coaches that pop up in the spring all the time and in Canada, they're sick and tired of that drama from the NFL, and they probably prefer to be in a smaller league. In my opinion, that's just a guess.
Anybody else? To me, it makes sense. Anybody else want to comment on that before I go to the next question that I like?
Yeah, that was the one thing I wanted to mention was that the control that they get to take over their own teams. So now they get to choose who they like and who they want who they think will be, a winner for them in the USFL. And I think that's what the cool thing about spring football leagues are, that these coaches get the opportunity to put their own teams together. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, I
It's
mean,
almost
it's
like your
basically,
own.
you're going to live and die by your head coach.
Yep.
Like it used to
Yep.
be. I mean, Jarrett, you want to add anything to that?
Nope, just whatever John Turner said in Arlington. I agree with their comments. Basically.
All right, now, this is the one thing.
Real quick.
Go ahead, John.
The second half of his question said he just doesn't like how they're getting their players. So I'm going to propose a question to you guys. Last year we watched 2 years ago we watched the XFL basically draft almost their entire team. Would you prefer they only have about 15 or 20 rounds of drafting and then they allow the coach / GM and player personnel guy, the league tells them, look, we're going to pay these guys $80,000 to $120,000 a year. You've got 18 more spots to fill. Now you can go out and find some free agents. If they want to play for that amount of money, great. You know what I mean? And maybe we'll give you $500,000 for your star player or something like that. Would you rather them draft like that, or would you rather them draft the whole team 38 rounds in a row?
I'll go first. I'll go first on this one. So right now, we really don't know how they're getting their players, right? So we have no real idea of how they're getting their players, which actually, John, was going to lead into the next question I was going to ask right here with McElroy saying that there are about 1,000 to 1,200 D1 players in the transfer portal. That is what the USFL wants to grab these guys. I bet that's their plan. Now, if that's the truth, if they're going to go through the transfer portal and grab those guys, hey, that's great, because then we know we're going to get some quality football. Because you got to remember, when the spring league came up and the XFL came up, we only had a few notable players, right? That we were like, we got a few notable players, right? That were really good. Where this one, we're going in blind. We didn't know when they were going to announce head coaches. We don't know when they're going to announce the other four. We finally know their draft is going to be in February, but we're not going to see that draft. So by going through this transfer portal, if that's the way to do it, then we can kind of see, hey, these are the guys that are in that transfer, those D1 players that are in that transfer. Ooh, I'd like to see this guy or this guy or this guy. So, I mean, really, does anybody know how they're getting their players? No, we don't. But I think if you go the transfer way, I think that's really that would be a better way to do it, is right through that way. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I think that I agree with Dirty on that. I watched the XFL draft in 2020, and it was so long and so brutally boring for the most part. So except for the first round, and like you said, 38 rounds. It went on like multiple days, if I'm not mistaken, or so many hours.
It was 3 days.
I don't know. It was
3
bad,
days.
but and we talked about it. But hopefully they do the XFL draft way better, like production, and way better, like maybe have some commentators or something. But yeah, the transfer portal would be the better option, in my opinion.
Arlington.
I saw that comment right here with Richard. He was saying that they be using TSL players and calling their agents for the other. I think there was the 4 teams, and so those rosters, I would suspect them to get first dibs. You know what I mean? So, and then finding free agents thereafter. I have one name that I want to throw out there. He was in the AAF for just a little while. He was an offensive tackle for the Salt Lake Stallions. His name was Sean Brown. I was I had a chance to interview him a couple years back when he was trying out for the Alliance of American Football, and then get selected by the Salt Lake Stallions. I saw that here's an offensive tackle. He's hungry. He's looking for an opportunity, and he's looking at both leagues, no matter what the case it may be. So there's going to be talent out there, whether they are part of the transfer portal or not. There are guys that still love the game of football, and there's going to be, even though it won't be a lot of slots, but there will be chances for them to get some action in this year and definitely on the next.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, John, what do you think? Because you're a big proponent of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I was just trying to look up the university. I'm a huge University of Houston fan, and I love their defensive coordinator, Doug Belk. I think he's got a great future in front of him. Top 10 defense, and they were recruit ranked number 80 in college football. So, I mean, he was beating up teams with lesser known players this past year, and they went pretty far. What I was going to say is their quarterback, his name escapes me right now. he's got one more year of eligibility on him. And I was trying to figure out if their backup quarterback was a 3-star or you know what I mean, something like that. And I was going to use him as an example. Like, if you know you're not going to start, but 3-star means you are a very, very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
You are a top 1,000 in the nation high school football senior. Okay, so that's what the 3 stars are. It's the top 1,000. It's the top 300 for the 4 stars, and the 5 stars are the top 32 in the nation. So if you're a top 1,000, you're a great player. Okay, you're probably going to get drafted if you continue on that trend. But if I don't want to wait a year. I mean, I want to play, and now I'm a junior. You know, there's no way I'm going to see the field with a map if this guy's still on the team. I might get in that portal, and if I don't find that NIL deal that I'm looking for, and they're offering me $100,000 a year, I'm going to the USFL, because what's the hell's the difference? You know, their season ends pretty much right around draft time. You know what I mean? And I can walk on. They can sign me as an undrafted free agent at the end of the year, any NFL team, and I can take my chances. If I don't make the team, I'll show back up to training camp for the USFL or the XFL the following year.
Right. Hey, I mean, I like that idea. And that's kind of the point that I tried to, I was making when we did the show last week, when we had Brett talking about if you're a D2 or if you're a day 2 or a day 3 guy, which is basically, like you said, John, one of those 3-star guys, you have a few years of eligibility, but you see the XFL or the USFL lingering out there. Do you really want to be on a backup to a kid who's a 4 or 5-star, or you can go right into this league and make some money right away? Now, I like this because, and I completely forgot about this until Ken said that, and I remember this, that the original USFL had each team had rights to all the players from the 4 local schools. Well, now that was a different time. There was more money. The NFL wasn't what it is today. For example, he says that Birmingham had that Birmingham's 4 schools would be Alabama, Auburn, Gambling, and Mississippi. Now, that's not a bad idea for year 2. Now, here's why I don't think this will work, and I want to ask you guys, and I'll tell you why I don't think it's working. The No Fun League is a totally different beast now. Totally different beast. It literally runs parallel with the NCAA. They're not going to give a lesser now, and I hate to use this. I hate to use this term, but this isn't a proven league yet. They're not going to. The NFL is not going to let a lesser league have any kind of rights to any college team, in just my opinion. So I don't think that would work. I would like to see that work. I just don't see it working. I don't see the NFL allowing it.
I don't even think it's about rights. It's about if they're good enough that they can make the NFL. It don't matter where the hell you play. You could be at a D3 school, and if you putting up monstrous stats, an NFL scout is going to find you.
But did Jerry Rice come from a JCO school?
He came
Very
from
small.
Mississippi Valley State. Don't you even try it.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, no, but the greatest wide receiver, the greatest football. I mean, his peers rank him the greatest football player ever. So again, Arlington, like you said, doesn't matter where you play. Yeah. If you're that good, an NFL team's going to find you.
That's what I'm saying. There's no point of having rights to particular teams like what the USFL did in the past. See, the NFL allowed it then. What the hell would you think they wouldn't do it now? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they would. I don't think they would.
But there's no point. There's no point of doing that.
Jarrett?
Well, like Arlington said, like Ben Roethlisberger was Miami, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. What was the question again, guys?
So it's like right here. So I'll put it back up. The original USFL.
Oh, the local teams.
Each team had the local team rights.
Yeah, I don't see it happening at all. Personally, that's just me though. I don't see it happening. It's the NFL's too big. Next, I'm done with that.
Yeah, Mr. Football.
I think the best case scenario that we can see is next year, assuming they stay in business, we can see all 8 teams hosting their own combine with kids from local schools. So you can't eat into, say, the Houston Gamblers territory and invite kids from that territory to the Philadelphia Stars combine. They have to kind of stay home, and they'll get to do all the drills and get all their measurements and all that other stuff. So when I went to the DC Defenders combine, they had that the Papali, the guy that played for the Eagles, his son was there. They had a bunch of guys that were local with the Bowie State, Towson, Maryland Eastern Shore. They were coming down from Frostburg University. Okay. Howard guys were there, Maryland. Okay. So, I mean, they did a good job with the combine. I think that's what the USFL can try to plan for, hire ANC combines to put it together for you and do that for all 8 teams, because you're going to lose 33 to 50% of your roster from year to year. Okay. So you're going to have to you can't fill them all in just a draft and then start thumbing through the yellow pages.
Right. Now, John, he says right here, so I'll let you start since you were already talking. He says that's over other USFL teams, not the NFL. John, you answer that question, because I do want to go to this one more question.
What does he mean by that? That's over.
So it's not being over the NFL. It's like, so Birmingham will only get to pick from Alabama, or who did he say? Alabama, Auburn, Gambling State.
No. I think you should be the whole planet has to be open for the draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forget that.
You guys agree to it?
Talking about inviting you to your combines, maybe like, you've got your 8 territories because you've got 8 teams. But then for the territories that aren't remotely close to any of the 8 teams' territories, well, then you start getting bigger territories assigned to the 8 teams. I think that would make a little bit more sense. But just to say you can only draft out of your territory, that seems a little Canadian to me.
I agree.
And that's kind of how the CFL does it. So,
and
I mean, listen.
Look at their freaking locations now. They're like not even spread out. So
here's the question I like right here, which I actually think this is what we're going to see, because we actually talked about this on last week's show a little bit about the historic black the HBCUs.
Colleges.
Do you think the XFL and USFL will get players from the D2 in there? I think that's going to possibly be 75% of your teams, of your players, are going to come from something like that. Arlington, you're muted.
FCS or something.
I won't say that. I won't say that. I will say that a lot of your players will be former NFLers. That I'm not saying that like HBCUs are going to be coming in as they coming out of school. No, because they all have NFL dreams. Why? Case in point is what Deion Sanders was saying, that why they didn't have any HBCU players in the draft last year. So they're going to be looking for that. Now with this NIL deal, though, would you want?
I think the NIL deal changes everything.
It does.
For college football.
And I think that's what makes it will make the USFL, XFL, whatever spring football, whatever league that comes out. It's like, if I'm not, like John said, if I'm not getting no shot really to play, and I mean, I would love to be in an NFL camp, but if I don't see myself getting a chance to play, sure, I can see I see money somewhere else, and I'll have a better chance to make a team than getting in the NFL.
Yeah, Jared,
so I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, I agree. I think those players will get in. Yeah, they've had like XFL 2020 had a lot of players come from like colleges no one knew the names of, and that
That's
sort of
true.
thing. So yeah, I agree. There was a lot coming from like South Dakota State, where I'm from, like and all those. So yeah, I agree.
John?
Yeah, here's a guy for you. Let's see. Here he is. Felix Harris.
What the heck is that?
State University, sir. That's the type of guy I think could end up in. He is an HBCU player. He's got legs. He's got a cannon arm. If he gets drafted, it's going to be in the dead last round at best. He's probably more than likely going to be a non-drafted free agent type of guy. You want to make some noise and bring some fans immediately from his territory. Get a guy like him, make him your starter day one, build around him, and not only will he be appreciative of a 6-digit, salary, but I mean, the guy like that will start selling you T-shirts and jerseys, I think, right out the gates. You know what I mean? I'd support, going to get some of these. Who do you know that has mentioned his name in just football conversations?
Nobody. They haven't really talked about anybody yet.
All right, go YouTube him. He's a fine football player, and he can play on the USFL level and be just as good as we have last year. We had Walker, and then we had Walker. That's pretty much all that stood out at the quarterback position for the XFL. We had Garrett Gilbert the year before. So it's like if you can get one or two standouts. All
right, we got 2 minutes left. And there's two questions because one is the one. There's the one. So here's the one. So this is going to be a real quick one. So what kind of contracts do you guys think that these players will get? A 1-year deal or a 3-year deal? Well, here's what I'm going to say. Because this is a new league, do it as a 1-year deal. That's my take. Arlington, 1 or 3-year deal?
I would say start off as a 1-year deal, 3-year deals. Right now it's not like how it was with the Alliance. So
okay.
If you like participating in it, and you might get something better the next go round, depending on how the success of the league goes.
Yep, Jarrett, one or 3?
1, 3 if you have an amazing quarterback or something. That's it for me.
Okay, John, 1 or 3?
75,000 1 year, 100,000 2 years, 125 3 years.
Okay, there you go. Now, like I said, we only got just under a minute. This is the question that I really like. Some Aussie defensive and offensive linemen are beginning to filter into the colleges, which they are. Hopefully they get a shot in the opportunity to see them wrecking shop in the USFL one day. Here's what I would say. I would love to see some players in the USFL. Now, you guys tell me if I'm wrong. The XFL has said they want to go global. I think we might see a little more Aussie players in the XFL than we will the USFL because they want a more global market. Arlington, we'll go to Jarrett. What do you think?
Yeah, USFL, I think the XFL will go more international than the USFL will, but maybe I'll be surprised by it. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen for the people that are from Australia. Yeah.
Okay. Turner, what do you think?
Well, when they put out the league management personnel list for Fox, it looked like all American white boys across the board. So I think they're going to stay in America. I will say this. Jacob Patel wrote an article for Football World breaking down a list of players that he thinks could transition to the NFL game. I'm going to send you guys that link. These guys are brick shithouses and phenomenal athletes.
Okay. Arlington.
The Australian Football League.
Right. Arlington, what do you think?
I'm already thinking that the same thing what John is saying, man. The USFL, the United States Football League, it's meant for the United States there. Going inside of the going outside of that just seems like it's going to cause a rift. And I think like you said, like what Jared said about the XFL going internationally, that's where they're headed. So we might see some more Asian and Australian and Brazilian more football players from outside of countries that are playing American style football getting into this mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, so we're 49 seconds over. This is the Pro Football Alliance USFL Roundtable brought to you by Pack22.com. Call Matt at 727-452-2645. Make sure January 6th is January 10th is the national championship. Make sure you get your money in. Make sure you make your bet. $25 entry fee. Again, like John said. John, what is it? First prize. You're going to next year's championship.
2 tickets to the Natty, 3 nights, 2 days stay at a hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Say what? Second place, $750. Third place, $250. Don't be left out in the cold.
That's true. And mention John Turner's name or Football World, and you get 50% off your first $500 deposit. After that, it's a 25% deposit that you get towards your credit. So go to Pack21 or Pack22.com. Mention a Football World discussion. I am Dirty. Thank you guys for joining us. And for all of our team hosts tonight, my partner in crime on Wednesday night, the one, the only.
A-Train Arlington Lane, baby.
Right, there you go. Right next to him is our guy from Tampa who is covering the Bandits over there in Tampa, the one, the only.
Jared.
And the only guy that might have a louder mouth than me on this show, the guy sitting right next to me from a Football World,
It's a football world. We're all just
You gonna say your name,
through.
dude?
Forget it. He ain't saying his name. Mute his microphone. Thank you guys for joining us. Hey, check us out every Tuesday. It's 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. No. Change that. I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to let my producer, Arlington, because I'm an idiot. My host mouth just starts rambling way too much. It's 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, right, Arlington, on Tuesdays? Right?
I thought it was 8 o'clock 7 Central. I thought it was 8
No,
o'clock
that's for
7
our
Central,
show.
man.
That's for
What
our
we
show
doing?
on Wednesday. That's for our show on Wednesday, Arlington.
We the late group, 10 o'clock 9. Okay.
Yeah, 10 o'clock 9 on Tuesdays, right?
All right. We're out
All
of
right.
here.
Anything we said, guys? John, get it off. He's showing off. He's showing off the football team.
That
Guys,
will
thank you for joining
demonetize.
us tonight. We do appreciate it. Go to all our social media pages and like it. And if there's anything you guys want us to change, please hit us up. Let us know what you guys want us to change. Next week we'll have new guest on, new host, and all of that stuff. It's a rotating host schedule. The only annoying voice you will see every week will be mine, and I feel sorry for you guys.
You're fired. You're fired. Goodbye.